Welcome back to Autism Live. We're here with the fabulous Joanne Lara, and we promised you that we were going to talk about the ITP, and of course we've had so many other things to talk about that we keep getting sidetracked. So ITP.
Individual transition plan.
Okay.
Embedded in the IEP. Embedded in the IEP and should be addressed either at 14, North Carolina, California, Colorado, I believe, Texas are all 14s, mandate, state mandate, or 16.
Okay.
All right. So that means when you go into your IEP, and your child's 14, if you're in California or North Carolina or Colorado or Texas, and there's a number of other states at 14, the first thing you want to say is, aha, I'd like to address the ITP.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the team feels are going to be good goals and objectives, because they're just like the IEP. You set goals and objectives for community social. It addresses 3 domains: community social, employment, and residential. Now, many people say residential, well, my child's going to live with me for the rest of my life, Well, you know what? I have a bone to pick with you about that.
Yeah.
Because I think our individuals should have the same playing field as everyone else. And they should, at a certain point, they should transition out of their home. And they should, if they're going to live in a group home or a residential,
Right.
they should live with friends and peers their own age if they can.
Yeah.
They should have the opportunity to have that. Have roommates,
Yes.
have friends. Because living and I just had a mother tell me yesterday who heads up a huge organization that's national. Son's 15 and severely disabled. And I said, and what about residential for your son? Oh, he'll be with me. And I thought, that's the first instinct for a mother that wants to say that.
Yes.
And I don't want to stay on residential, but I want to say to you mothers, a lot of times you're well-meaning in wanting to nurture your child. But guess what? That child's going to be an adult, and he's going to be 30, and he's going to be 40, and he's going to be 50 during your lifetime.
And you're not going to live forever, let's be honest.
But also, during that lifetime, if he's with you, what are his community social options going to be?
But I'll tell you honestly, Joanne, and not for us to get sidetracked onto this, I think a lot of parents, it's not a consideration because what we have heard about residential facilities sounds terrible, or that there isn't anything. So I hope we can just say to our families, we're going to expand your mind in the coming weeks, months, and years to the fact that there are some good places. Have you, set up a plan for you to look at some of them, but open your mind to the possibility that that would be good for your child.
Exactly. And you know that what we want to do with Autism Works Now, and this is why we're having the Larry King, I'm going to have a replica, 3D replica of my vision of what I want.
Yeah.
I'm going to have it designed and put on one of the tables at the event.
Yes.
At the gala to say, this is what we're looking at.
Yes.
We want a residential, 6 different rooms
Right.
for residential living with a big community living room where we're going to do arts, all the arts.
Right.
But we also want a horticultural greenhouse where we can grow plants and flowers and then make that a economic income. So design flowers.
Right.
So 1-800 Autism Works Now flowers.
Right.
And so our individuals who are living there are growing them and learning to design them and delivering them to the home, the 1-800 flowers, Autism Works Now flowers. We also want to have another area where I'm not certain, but either breeding dogs, service dogs,
Right.
or minis, because mini horses are really good, being used well with our kids.
Yeah.
So in other words, there's the opportunity to have the option to be employed by the Autism Works Now program.
Right.
Or you can go out as well, but you can also live there.
Right.
And it's the oldest model there is. Comes out of France. It's the
Right.
first model. And we don't want to go there because I want to go back to the ITP.
Yes.
So residential, rethink residential, not with, like I say many times in my workshops, it's not about you.
Right.
And
Which
I say
is
that
hard.
many, many times to educators and parents. It's not about you. Now it's time to begin to look at the individual and see what he wants.
And that is a part of the ITP process. That
That is.
residential component needs to begin to be discussed.
It-
And you are not alone as a parent in discussing that. That's why it's part of the ITP.
That's right. And it's okay if you say, I want him to live with me. All right, so that's going to be documented. But you also might have some team members that say, well, you know what, we'll probably readdress that in a couple of years down the road, because maybe that's not going to be the best option for your child when he turns 22 or 24. He wants to be with his friends. He wants to have friends. And residentials and homes go out on outings. They eat together. They learn to cook together. They have friends. And and the reason I reiterate is because I've been doing this for 20 years. I know individuals who are old, who live in an apartment, who are sad and lonely, and will tell you, I am lonely, and who call me every day. And when I say, what did you do today? They say, oh, I changed the rabbit cage. I'm just saying.
That's
this is
not
not
the life
a full
that we
life. This is not the life we
kids.
want. And, okay, so now let's go back to what is the employment piece going to look like? And what are the goals and objectives that need to be written? I will also tell you that it says federally that there should be an outside agency that's going to be part of that employment piece at the IEP meeting.
Really?
So you'll be hard pressed to find Social Security or the Department of Rehab there. Ask, hey, when was the last time Department of Rehab was at one of your IEPs? Never.
Right.
They have the right to be there, and if you want them there, you can ask a Department of Rehab person to come, and you can ask your school to call them. You can ask SSI to be there. You can ask all these people that should be part of your team, because they are your team.
They're going to be the team when you get to that
transition. People don't know this piece.
No, I didn't know this.
And you can go to your regional centers, if you have regional centers, and say, you know what, I'd like Department of Rehab to be at the IEP. Somebody from Department of Rehab to be there. And they're going to go.
Really?
Go. I think it's a federal mandate. I think that that's what I love to do. I go into IEP meetings and I teach special ed law at National University, and I'll go into an IEP meeting and I'll put my special ed law book right there, and then I'll say, "Excuse me, where's the restroom?" And I kind of turn it so everyone can see, because I want them to know that I know that there are special ed laws. And that's what the parents need to get savvy about. And I'm going to go back to the conversation I had with Sue Swinson in Washington, Department of Education. She came to her job because she had a son who was severely disabled who passed away, she told me, I think 10 years ago. And so she knows of what she speaks. And she said, you know what? The parents are uneducated, Joanne. And she said, that's the downfall. Parents need to be educated on the ITP process, what to expect, how the public school system can help that individual and their child. They have no idea. And so that's what I aim to do with Temple on the Future Horizons conference circuits, to get out there. My PowerPoint's all about, did you know this? Oh, and hey, did you know this? Because you need to be educated to know that this is what is due you. You don't need to be groveling. Oh, what are we going to do so we can get a job? You need to say, what courses are you going to be offering my child? Because when he took the assessment, he's really good at horticulture, and it seems that he might like to be working in a nursery and growing plants and things. What course are you going to teach? Are you going to offer him so that he can learn to do that?
But what we find is that they don't even bring up the ITP process. So if we don't know to ask for it, it's not happening. And we have so many families that get to that 18 or 21 and school goes,
don't let the door hit you.
And you feel like you were in it alone the whole time. But that's why that ITP is really important. And I'll tell you, if you can't get to one of the Future Horizons conferences that Joanne will be at, she's written articles about this. You can Google Joanne Lara ITP.
Future Horizons, Autism Asperger's Digest. I wrote a wonderful article. I mean, I'm not beating my own drum, but it's a 10-page article on transitioning and the ITP process. And take a read, because I spent 6 months writing that article. They said, they don't throw me small bones. They don't go, well, what do you think about the upcoming holiday? They go, why don't you go out and write an article about transitioning? And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to take me a minute. And it took me about 6 months.
Well, and I think that's probably the next book. Do you not agree with me?
I would love to do it if I have it in me.
Right. I know. You've got a lot of different things in your...
No, I mean, it takes so much to write a book.
I know. Well, and you have other things going on, but I honestly think that you have enough information that's I'm not pressuring her, but
No, but there are some, look, and the other thing that we need to do is the Department of Rehab, the department, and parents push this. Parents drive the train. I always say that. The ball is in your court, parents. You're the ones that made the laws that we live by now for special ed. It wasn't a room full of people. I've said this before on your show. There's not a room full of people going, now how should we serve those individuals with special ed in their special ed classes? The parents go to the Supreme Court, and that's how the laws get changed.
Yeah, no
so
kidding.
if you think things are not right, file out of compliance. File out of compliance with your state. Here in California, we file out of compliance with Sacramento. File out of compliance.
Yeah.
Say they're out of compliance with the IDEA. Don't be afraid to do it. They are not allowed to have repercussions against you for that. As a parent, as an educator, I filed out of compliance 3 times as an educator.
There you go.
With my administration.
There you go.
Yeah, do you think they liked me? No, they didn't like me. They didn't like me at all because I said, I want this and this and this, and it's due me, and that's what IDEA says, and that's what special ed is. And they in Sacramento came back and said, she's right, and if you can't work it out, we'll be down there to help you.
There you go.